Everything you need to operate an LEL monitor on site is in this case. We've got the monitor itself, it's currently on its charging dock, and the charging adapter is in here, the flow plate, tubing and regulator. There's a little magnet here, we'll get around to that in a minute, and there is the calibration gas bottle. And this gas bottle has the certified values written on it, so we can use this to bump test the unit. And as you can see, so requested value, hydrogen sulfide 25 ppm, certified value 25 ppm. So we can use this to bump test the machine. You'll see that I have two monitors out here at the moment. This one is calibrated to pentane, and we have the pentane gas bottle that it was calibrated to. This one here was calibrated to methane, and we have the bottle here. So if you're concerned with natural gas, you should be using the methane calibrated unit, and if you're concerned with petroleum compounds, you should be using the pentane calibrated unit. As you can see, the little white filter has been removed from the LEL polyester on the pentane calibrated unit. That's to allow the heavier hydrocarbons to pass through the filter more easily and to give you a better response time. Just be aware that these polysters are susceptible to poisoning. For example, some sulfurous compounds can inhibit the sensors and you will get an inaccurate reading. Also, they're very sensitive to any silicon compounds. Silicon compounds will actually damage the polyester and cause it to stop operating correctly. Okay, let's turn the unit on. We've got our one button operation here, so I'm going to press that and hold it. Red light comes up and we're going to go through a warm-up. Just going to hold my finger over the speaker. The serial number, the last digit there indicates our reference. This is LEL8. Today's date and our next calibration. Okay, now it's asking would we like to zero, and if we're in a nice clear environment we can zero this. And we're all checked off, so that's great. So now we're in normal run mode, we're operating, we've got our O2 here, 20.9% oxygen in the air. We have our LEL percentage, CH4, methane, hydrogen sulfide in parts per million, and carbon monoxide in parts per million. Now we can do a bump test. So I'm going to connect up the flow plate to the machine. Just clip that onto the front and screw it down. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my magnet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the magnet over the badge here, and that will initiate the bump test. And what we're going to do, the reason why we do this is so that it will test to see whether we're reading the correct values, but it also gives me a time bar, and so we need to make sure that the unit is reacting quickly enough to the compounds. So that's what we're going to do. So the gas bottle is off at the moment. We're going to hold the badge over. There we go. Now I'm going to turn the gas on, and it should start to tick off our compounds as they come up. And we're ticked. All of our compounds are ticked, the time bar is still creeping along. And we're ticked again. So that's a successful bump test. We'll press the button again to return to the normal run mode. We're in alarm mode at the moment. It's alarm set 2, and it's looking good here. We've got 50% LEL, 49% LEL. We're up to 50 now. It's 50% on the bottle. It's 25%, 25 ppm hydrogen sulfide on the bottle, and we're up to 24 ppm, so that's pretty good, and almost 100 ppm on the carbon monoxide. There it is. So that's good. So it's well calibrated, it's passed its bump test, and now it's gone to full alarm mode. I'm turning the gas off. I'm going to remove the flow plate. And this alarm is now latched, and we will not be able to reset it until these values have dropped below the first and second alarm values. So these are dropping nicely. I'm going to try this button now. Click once and it's gone. It's situation okay. So these values are now below the first and second alarm sets. And we'll show you that in a minute, but for example, the LEL, the first alarm is at 5% and the second alarm is at 10%. There's a time-weighted average set up in here as well. We'll have a look at that also. Let's have a brief look at the small menu set. So we're going to double click on the button and we have a few functions here. There's a function for a peak hold function, so that will hold the highest values. Time-weighted average, you can display that. So the time-weighted average is over 8 hours. And there's a zeroing function at the bottom here as well, so we can just scroll through these, and to enter any of these options you just press the button twice, and so that was on time weighted average, and it's showing a little icon here, and so we have nothing to report at the moment. This is at the moment 0.1 part per million H2S over this current period, this current 8-hour time period. And to go back into normal mode, we can double press the button again, and this top menu here, we'll just click on that and we're back in normal run mode. And finally, to turn the machine off, we just press and hold the button. And we're off. Here's some paperwork that we supply with our rental LEL monitors. The first page here, we've got the serial number. The last numbers on the serial number indicates the number of the unit. So we call this unit LEL 13. And this shows our calibration results. So the last calibration date here. And here we go, for example, this was calibrated with pentane. The value of the cal gas was 25% LEL pentane, and the cal reading 25.02% as a pass, so that's good. Let's scroll down to the next page, and this is our configuration report, and this is very useful. We can see here when the alarms are activated. Again, let's have a look at the LEL. So our first alarm activates at 5% LEL, and our second alarm activates at 10% LEL. Now these alarms, you can reset them with the button, one touch on the button, but they will only reset once the atmosphere has reduced back down to below these levels, and that is the same for all these parameters. And lastly, at the bottom here, we've got our short-term and long-term exposure. So let's have a look here. We have the hydrogen sulfide, the H2S. The short-term exposure, 10 parts per million over 15 minutes, and the long-term exposure, 5 parts per million over 8 hours. And so those alarms will raise at this point here. For safety reasons, if either of these alarm sets are triggered, you can't reset them with the machine on. So you'll have to turn the machine back off again and reset in a safe environment.